Hi friends, this is Max from the future. I'm in the middle of editing this video and I just wanted to pop in quickly. Please ignore this ginormous spot on my forehead. We're just going to pretend it's not there. So I've been aware while editing this video that I'm speaking about, as you can tell from the title, autism and transitions. And in this moment in time, I'm sharing vulnerably about my reality in that current moment. And I wanted to just make a quick little disclaimer to say that I'm not complaining about these things. I just really felt strongly like I wanted to share my reality with you. And I also never want to make it seem like my life as an autistic person is easy breezy. Because I feel like it's really important to create more awareness about what the reality of life as an autistic ADHDer is actually like. And as you can tell from the video, like, I'm not in a bad mood as I'm speaking about these things or anything. It is just that the reality of that moment in time was a challenging period, and I felt like it was an important topic to talk about. So yeah, just a quick little disclaimer. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope it resonates for you. Let's get into it. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I really just wanted to have a chat with you about transitions. If you can tell, I'm a little bit sick right now. My chest hurts quite a bit and I'm coughing a lot. Maybe not the best idea for me to sit here talking, but I felt like it and I need to get this creative energy out, so what can you do? I'm experimenting with my hair today because I realised I was actually on a phone call to my mum and she said, wow, your hair has grown, and I thought maybe I could try putting it up in a high pony. When I had really long dreadlocks a good few years ago, they were like down to the middle of my back. And I used to love wearing them in like a big bun on the top of my head. Obviously, this is not long enough to do that with, but anyway, that's why my hair is looking crazy. But I like it. So the last couple of weeks I've been staying with my friend, which has been awesome. I needed a break from my hometown. Some of you may know, if you've been watching my recent videos, I keep mentioning it. I've been apartment hunting recently. Oh, and just to say, if you haven't already, feel free to pause this video and go and grab yourself a nice hot cup of something tasty. I'm currently drinking just a nice little coffee with some honey in it for my throat. Nice. Cheers. So yeah, the last couple of weeks I've been staying with my friend and I just got back last night to where I live, usually with my parents, but my parents are on holiday right now. So I guess that's why you're not usually seeing this background in my videos, because I'm currently in the living room where they usually would be. But I wanted to have a little chat, probably more openly than I usually would on my channel, about transitions, specifically about transitions as an autistic person. I obviously had a travel day yesterday to get back here, and I'm also, as I've mentioned, not very well at the moment. And I had an experience during my travel where I was really concerned that I was going to be sick at one point. So I didn't have the nicest of travel experiences yesterday, but even so, just being autistic really impacts the way that I experience transitions. And I feel like if you're neurotypical, or even if you're neurodivergent but you don't know much about autism specifically, it can be really confusing to try to understand what the difficulty is for autistic people with transitions. And the way that I kind of like to think about it is that my whole brain and body processing, like when it comes to processing everyday life, processing my thoughts, processing all the signals that my body goes through every single day, of like when I'm too hot, when I'm too cold, when I need to eat, when I need to pee, all of these different things, what I'm sensing, if I'm gonna have sensory overload, if something is overstimulating me, what my capacity is in any given moment. These are all things that as an autistic person, you're forced to have to think about. You're basically always trying to manage your experience. You're always trying to manage your external circumstances so that you don't get overstimulated or overwhelmed, and so that that doesn't lead to a meltdown or a shutdown. And autism is a neurological condition. It's not an illness, it's not a disorder, it's a neurological condition. So that basically means that where all of your difficulties are stemming from, it's to do with the central nervous system. So when it comes to processing daily life things, and when I say processing, I literally mean experiencing something, feeling how you feel about it, and then moving on. That whole process for most autistic people is more challenging, as in autistic folks tend to be affected by daily life things slightly more than a neurotypical person, but also lengthier. Like, I know that for a lot of autistic folks, because I've seen other autistic folks talk about this, but also autistic people that I've spoken to, it takes our central nervous system and our brain longer to process these daily life experiences. It's a slow process, and honestly, being autistic has really taught me how much patience I need to give myself. And it's actually taught me just to be an extremely patient person in general, because I have to be patient in order to live with myself. But it's also given me a hell of a lot of patience for other people as well. Anyway, basically, I'm really slow, and the way that I work is really slow. The way my body works, my central nervous system, my brain, it all generally happens very slowly. So when it comes to transitions, there's that layer of I can't just go from being in one place to being in another place in terms of living circumstances, and just be able to snap into doing my normal daily thing in the new place. It's just impossible for me, because it's almost like a shock to the system. It's probably the way that I would describe it. It's like you go to another place and your whole environment is different, and where you would usually put things is different. Where you would usually do your daily routines is different. Your sensory experience is different. So like the things that you would usually have to control in terms of things being too bright or sounds in your environment, all of those types of things are different. So you kind of have to be really aware of, do I need to do things differently in order to stop myself from being overstimulated? And also for me, it's a lot of confusion. Like, I really do feel like shock to the system is the right phrase to use, because I think I need to move you a bit further down. Oh yeah, that's better. It's like my brain is trying to comprehend a completely different reality. That's genuinely what it feels like. Like, it feels like someone has taken my brain, shaken it up, put it back in my skull, and now my brain is like, that's how it feels for me to be in a new place. It definitely affects my executive functioning as well. I can't think properly. There's a lot of confusion. It almost feels like my daily life and the choices that I make about how I spend each day are quite heavily inspired or impacted by the place that I'm living in. And now it's like I'm in a different place and I can't think of how I would usually spend my day. I'm just really confused. It's like my brain is clouded and I don't know how I want to spend my time. I think the other significant difference as well though is that obviously I've been staying with my friend and now I'm on my own. So it's like in the last couple of weeks, usually I would have that other person to bounce with and to exchange energy and stuff. And now being on my own, I'm like, I just don't know what to do with myself. I also know though that all this is definitely influenced by the fact that I'm not very well, because I definitely have this hugely ADHD related inkling and desire to go out, to go into town, to like ground myself back into this location by being outside and by walking around and blah 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 blah. That's not the best idea for me today. But it's a very jolting experience, the transition. And I find that whenever I go anywhere else, even if it's a holiday and it's like a nice lovely thing and I'm in a beautiful place and blah blah blah, it's still that jolting transition. If you're also autistic and watching this video, I would love to hear below in the comments how you feel about transitions and whether any of this resonates for you, and what you think about some of the things that I've said about how I experience transitions. Do you ever have those days where you just feel like you can't make a coffee right? I'm just having one of those days where this is my second coffee today and I just can't get it right. Oh man, it's overwhelming. It's interesting as well because I'm really grateful to be here and I'm really glad I'm back. Sleeping in my own bed last night was wonderful, and I was so relieved when I got home yesterday because of having to travel while I'm not very well, and it was quite late when I got back and I was extremely tired, blah blah blah. I was so relieved that I just cried. I just cried and cried and cried until I felt like as much crying that needed to come had come, and it just eventually dissipated. That's something else. Certainly about my experience as an autistic person, I have these emotional responses to things. But my logical brain knows, like, I don't necessarily need to be crying right now, but my body needs it. Like, I can feel that it's in there, like my nervous system has responded, and the way that it's responded is to get upset. And I know logically, like, I'm getting upset right now and I really need to cry. I can tell that these tears need to come and they need to come out, but the actual emotion, I'm not upset. I don't know if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if that makes sense, because yeah, as an autistic person, my nervous system and my body has responses to things that I know logically. I don't actually feel emotionally upset right now, but I know that I need to cry right now to like get this out. And that's what happened when I got back. I feel like my nervous system was just so relieved to be back, and in order to process that, I needed to let myself cry. So that's what I did. I probably cried for about 20 minutes, pottering around, making myself a cup of tea and a piece of toast and going to bed, like just letting myself cry through that whole process. And yeah, like when I woke up this morning, I felt this sadness. And as I reflect on it, I thought it was sadness. And I think that I thought it was sadness because it felt challenging. It felt like a challenging emotion. And it felt low, like I felt low. But when I actually felt into like, what are my emotions right now? How do I actually feel about waking up here this morning? How do I actually feel about waking up this morning full stop? How do I feel? And I didn't feel sad and I didn't feel low, but what I did feel was a little overwhelmed, very tired, and a little confused. And so I think all of that was to do with making the transition. And I feel like it's really important to acknowledge that, because I could have woken up this morning and thought, oh, I feel sad today. This isn't going to be a very good day. I'm going to find this really difficult. I'm going to be sad. Whereas actually it wasn't really anything to do with me being sad at all. I'm actually really happy and grateful to be here. I just think my brain knows that transitions are challenging for me and for a lot of autistic people. So in the back of my mind, or maybe subconsciously or something, I'm like in resistance of like, oh, this is gonna be hard, this is gonna be challenging, this is a transition, rather than feeling like, oh, the relief of being home, of it being a lovely sunny Sunday and me being able to rest and recuperate and give myself the time that I need to heal from this weird throat, chest, whatever is going on. I'm also, as I've mentioned, in the process of looking for a new home for myself. And now that I'm back here, it almost is like, okay, that process needs to kick back into gear now. Like I need to spend more time and energy on looking for a new home, and that's gonna be emotionally and energetically taxing. I know that definitely there are other autistic folks that feel this way, but for me, not knowing where I'm gonna live and not having that stability, not having a space, not having my own space, it really messes with my survival instincts. It really messes with my ability to relax. And it's just one of the topics in general life that you have to deal with that I find extremely challenging. And so I'm also now transitioning back into, okay, this is my priority. I do have resistance towards diving back into the searching for a new home project because I know how draining it is for me. So the takeaway is that I basically just need to really give myself as much time as I need. I need to respect the fact that my body is sick right now. I need to not let my ADHD self win and think that I can just go off and do things and that I have all the energy in the world to do that, because I absolutely do not. I need to honour my mind and body, and I need to be extremely patient and compassionate with myself. I feel like as autistic people, we almost have to become rebels of society, because the story around making transitions is all obviously rooted in capitalism and productivity. But it's like, you should be able to carry on as normal. You should be able to jump into the next thing. You should be able to not be affected by these things. And that's just not the reality. It's not my reality as an autistic person. So I have to be a rebel in the amount of patience that I need to give myself and the amount of compassion that I have to have for myself, and I have to continuously override those societal stories that tell me that I should be able to jump straight back into things. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear if any of that resonates for you. Let me know if you're also going through a transition period at the moment, no matter how small of a transition you think it is. I will wish you all the best with that transition, and I hope it goes smoothly and with lots of compassion for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you're enjoying my videos because it really helps me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! This angle is not right. Now I'm leaning over too much. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. This ponytail is crazy. Okay, now we're sucking diesel. Ooh-wee, she got that booty. Oh, that's so much better. The transitions and